Hey, welcome to Book and Puppet Company for our story hour. Now we have just...
I thought it was already story hour.
Well, we were just doing some stories for some people who had subscribed on Patreon, and now we're going to go to our main story, which is Space Boy. The stories that we just read,
Space Boy?
if you were subscribed on Patreon, was A Good Day, The Carrot Seed, and The Tree in the Wood. And if you want to subscribe to our 10 o'clock story hour, the link is in the Facebook comments stream. But here we go with our featured book of the day, which is this book by Leo Landry called Space Boy. And as you can see, if you look at this book, there is a picture of a space boy.
And a bunny.
Is that a bunny, Dahlia?
No, it's a dog. It's a dog? There's not a bunny in it? No. I could pretend I'm a dog, though. Woof, woof.
No, you're a bunny.
But I'm pretending to be a dog. Woof, woof.
I think that could work. People can pretend to be whatever they want to pretend to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have to read this book now. It's called Space Boy by Leo Landry. And if you look, you see there's the space boy and a dog.
A bunny dog.
And a bunny dog. And the space boy is waving. And he has some special clothes he's wearing. It's a space suit. And he has a special kind of hat that he's holding that he's going to put on his head. It's called a helmet, or it could be called a space helmet. So here comes this book. In case you thought about it, Dahlia, did anybody out there, do you want to go to space?
I do.
I do.
It would be in a rocket. You have to take like this rocket and you go. And look, here's a picture of something that's very, very...
It's too
It would be extremely cold in space, but I guess that's why you'd need to have that space suit to keep you warm. Okay, here is again. It says Space Boy, and there is the rocket. That if you go to space, you would have to take the rocket. And here again it says Space Boy, and it looks like he's looking out of the window of the rocket. And what are all these little dots?
Salt?
Stars.
Oh, stars. I thought somebody spilled the salt.
Somebody spilled salt. Stars.
Or sugar. It could be sugar.
Sugar?
Sugary sky.
Okay, here comes the book Space Boy. The moon shined brightly as Nicholas readied for bed. He has a really great window over his bed. I love his window. I wish I had a window just like that where the moon came through the window. Dahlia, do you see the moon through your window sometimes?
No.
Do you have to go outside?
I have a lot of windows.
Do you have to go outside to see the moon?
No, because... Oh, it's snowing.
What?
It's snowing a little bit.
This is crazy.
Maybe it's sugar.
Sugar coming from the sky?
Sugar coming from the sky.
Okay, Dahlia, let's do the story.
You have to stick out your tongue. The moon shined brightly as Nicholas readied for bed. This is what he could hear. His baby sister crying in her crib. Do you know what sound that makes? I know. The dog barking to be let out. Do you know what sound that makes?
Woof, woof.
I know. And the radio blaring on the front porch, and it says, News, sports, blah. There's the radio on the front porch. Even the noises from his neighborhood floated through his open window, and here he hears the sound, vroom, vroom, meow, beep, beep. Time for bed, Nicholas. Here's Nicholas. It seems like there's too much noise for Nicholas. Do you ever have the feeling of too much noise, anybody? Sometimes it's hard when there's too much noise. It's hard to go to sleep. Bunny, do you have trouble going to sleep when there's too much noise?
Yes.
Too loud, thought Nicholas, holding his ears. And I'm not going to bed.
Somebody else says that.
In that
He's going to a rocket.
moment, Nicholas made a decision. He tiptoed quietly to the kitchen. He packed 2 cheese and tomato sandwiches, 1 bottle of water, 1 bunch of grapes, and a cookie. He fit the food nicely into his lunch box, along with a napkin. Why is he putting food in a lunchbox?
Because he's hungry.
He must be hungry or something. Next, Nicholas got dressed. First, he climbed into his space suit. And it says space suit. Check. Do you want to say space suit? Check. Space suit.
Check.
Check. Then he put on his space boots. Okay, let's say it. Space boots. Check.
Check.
And last, he put on his space helmet. Let's do it. Space helmet. Check. Nicholas read his list aloud to make sure he was ready. Then Nicholas walked outside to his backyard and climbed into his
Rocket ship.
which was in his backyard. This is pretty good. I didn't know he had a rocket ship in his backyard.
What's that noise?
I wish I had a rocket ship in my backyard. He strapped himself in. Can you put on your seatbelts? Shoomp. And prepared for takeoff. Nicholas knew exactly which buttons to push and when to push them. Okay. I heard a puppy.
It was Livy and Jasmine.
Hi, Livia and Jasmine. 4, 3, let's count from 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! He shouted. The rocket soared into space. Okay, let's make the sound. And if you look inside, you can see Nicholas is pushing all the buttons. Let's push some buttons. Bing, bing, bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Bing.
You gotta push some buttons.
There's
Bing,
a-
bing, 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 bing.
Thank you, Dahlia. And is anybody else pushing buttons out there? There's a lot of buttons to push. Don't forget to push all the buttons. There goes the rocket ship into space. Nicholas turned and looked out the window. Below, he could see the noisy world slowly fall away. Shh. Above, he saw...
A moon.
Yes. Almost there, he thought. The rocket touched down gently on the lunar surface. Nicholas opened the hatch. Can you open the hatch? Climbed down the ladder and stepped onto the cold, dusty landscape. And there's Nicholas. He is standing on the moon next to his rocket. It was so quiet on the moon. This is what Nicholas could not hear. His baby sister crying, the dog barking, or the radio blaring. It's quiet. Finally, he's got some quiet. No sounds on the moon. How nice, thought Nicholas. He spread out his blanket and unpacked his snack. Do you remember about his snacks? See, there's his lunchbox.
Oh, I think they got mushy.
You can tell them that.
The lack of gravity was a problem.
I think it got mushed. I think it did got mushy. I think it was a problem.
It could have gotten mushed, but it says the lack of gravity was a problem. The tomato slices rose softly into the atmosphere. See, the tomato is floating. They looked as big and round as the earth as they slowly floated away. Did you see that the earth is in the sky where he can see it? He's looking up and sees the earth. Nicholas held on to his sandwich and ate what was left. See, because the tomato slices floated away up towards the earth, but Nicholas is down here, and he does have the rest of his sandwich. Nicholas held on to his sandwich and ate what was left. Did you want to have some to eat? Here you go. Here's some sandwich for you. Here's some sandwich for you. He ate his grapes. Have some grapes. Here's your grapes. Here's your grapes. Have some grapes. I'll have some too. Bunny, do you want some grapes?
Thank you.
You're welcome. He took a sip of water and saved his cookie for last. Here's your cookie. Delicious, he said to himself. When he had finished, Nicholas went for a spacewalk. He bounced across huge craters and scaled miniature mountains. And there he is bouncing. He bounced across huge craters and scaled miniature mountains. The moon looks like fun. Would you like to jump on the moon?
Yeah.
There's not much gravity, so it's very easy to jump and bounce. The beautiful blue earth appeared behind every peak, silent and peaceful. See, he can see the earth in the sky from where he is on the moon. Isn't that cool? He's looking up and he sees the earth in the sky. Wow! He sees the earth.
Cold.
It is probably very cold. As Nicholas walked, he looked back at his footprints in the soft lunar surface. There's his footprints. Just like the footprints at the beach, he thought, remembering how he had helped his baby sister take her very first steps toward the ocean in the cool, wet sand. Nicholas continued his walk. The vast, wide-open spaces on the moon reminded him of His dog. Wouldn't he just love to run and run and run with no end in sight? Nicholas thought, though he would probably miss the green grass in our backyard. And seeing the earth again, Nicholas remembered those warm summer nights when his family sat out on the porch in the light of the full moon. This moon! Oh my gosh. This is the moon that they looked up at. His moonwalk had brought him back to his spaceship. Back up the ladder went Nicholas. He climbed through the hatch and strapped himself in. Can you strap yourself in? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Can you count? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off, he shouted. The rocket soared into space. Nicholas could see the craters and valleys of the silent moon slowly fall away. Ahead, he saw... Look, where is he going?
And the earth.
He saw the earth. That's right. Now he's flying from the moon to the earth. Soon the rocket touched down gently in his backyard. Nicholas opened the hatch, climbed down the ladder. Can you climb down the ladder? And stepped onto the moonlit grass. Now the moon's in the sky instead because he's back on Earth. He stepped onto the moonlit grass. He went into his room and took off his spacesuit. See, he left his spacesuit there on his bed. His space helmet and his space boots. He tiptoed gently down the hallway. This is what Nicholas could see. His baby sister sleeping in her crib. The dog curled snugly in his bed. His parents were sitting together on the front porch, listening to the radio. It was a lovely evening in his neighborhood. Beep, beep, vroom, vroom. There's his parents sitting together. I'm ready for bed now, Nicholas told his parents. Good night. Good night, Nicholas, said his parents. They're swinging. What do you see in the sky?
The moon.
The moon is in the sky. Good night, Nicholas, said his parents. It was good to be home. Hey, even his lamp looks kind of like a rocket ship. And there's his feet sort of sticking up under his blanket. And through the window, the moon. And that is the whole story about Space Boy. And that is going to be our story hour for today. So thank you so much for coming. And remember, if you want to see the full story hours, you can sign up on Patreon for the 10 o'clock portion. And thank you so much. Thank you, Dahlia. And thank you, everybody who came. And we are having a puppet show this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Bunny? I think there's a puppet show at, is it 2 o'clock?
It's at 1
1 o'clock.
on Patreon.
On Patreon.
And 1:30 on Facebook. Next week
1:30
that
on
starts
Facebook.
at 2.
Next week it begins to start at 2, but today it's at 1 o'clock Patreon and then 1:30 on Facebook. So hope to see you this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. And remember to sign up for us on Patreon to help support the bookstore. Bye.